go. Yeah, I did that wrong because I was more... Fuck it. Let's go.
I may have started the timer the first go.
This game has an in-game timer. It really doesn't matter that much anyway. Okay,
It's just off by like a second.
Good start. Great hustle. Really good at this. Okay, so this is Resident Evil 7, any percent new game plus. So it's the fastest difficulty, which is easy, which doesn't actually alter as much as you might think, at least compared to normal mode. Like, basically you just take less damage, but we don't really get hit, and wouldn't get hit on normal anyway, so whatever. And New Game Plus means we'll be using all the bonus items available to us, so all of the... we'll have infinite ammo, so we don't have to do any ammo routing, which, again, basically boils down to, like, picking up tons of shotgun shells, so that's not really that much to it either. Using a powerful weapon, so we can one-shot most enemies, which is not practically different from just using the shotgun, but it's actually kind of harder, actually, because the bonus weapon's harder to aim. Like, the bonus weapon that we use for most of the run is a handgun, which has a very narrow range of firing, whereas a shotgun's a shotgun. It's very hard to miss a shotgun, especially at point blank. So that first section was mostly just walking. When we get to the house, you see our speed is like dropped, but when we reach this like plank on the wall here, we can perform a restart. Which, once the game's done loading, which it should hopefully do fast, I have like super SSD load times, our speed returns and we can walk through. That's worth doing RTA, probably, even though it would like if you load really slowly, I guess it wouldn't be worth RTA, but it's worth it for me. But it's definitely worth it IGT, because Resident Evil 7 speedruns are timed with the in-game timer, so time spent loading doesn't actually count. So you get that speed boost. But otherwise, the opening of Resident Evil 7 is largely cutscene heavy. I took a step to alleviate that somewhat, because normally every run of Resident Evil 7 begins with a 2-minute and 33-second long cutscene that cannot be skipped for absolutely no good reason, that you just kind of have to sit through. So I made an autosave just after that cutscene and started the run there, instead of boring everyone with 2 minutes of like starting. One of the things I wanted to do was like start the run, start the cutscene, then immediately go, right, I'm going to go get a drink, and then just leave for the first 2 minutes, but I thought that'd be rude, so I didn't do it. Because that's how runs of this game start. Hey, there's actually a skip in this section. Normally, as you approach the end of this this claustrophobic underwater segment, a decomposing corpse pops out of the water and like forcibly like script startles the player character and has him like fall back into the water. But if you position yourself correctly, and by that I mean you like face the wall and look straight up, you should be able to just walk past it and hopefully not trigger it. Yep, did it correctly. Kind of a slow version, but that's fine. Get to the bolt cutters. And now we do menuing. Lightning fast menuing. Haha, got him. Okay, so here's a minor thing with that game, with that door opening I just did. I tried to position myself directly in front of the chain. Now why would I do that? Every single time you use an item, the game tries to reposition you to where it can play the animation, like, naturally. But the time it takes for the game to reposition you if you're out but still use the item is longer than it would take for you to just move into the correct position and begin the animation. So you want to position yourself precisely so when using items in this game. Contrary to most other survival horror speedruns where you want to mash buttons and use items from as far away as you possibly can, this game is the precise opposite. You want to be positioned as close as possible, or where the animation takes place, which sometimes is not directly in front of an object, sometimes it's slightly far away, so there's like a sweet spot you sometimes have to hit. So that's like a tiny optimization that actually saves a surprising amount of time over the course of the entire run. You must be observant of that if you play this game. And if you've played this game before, or haven't actually, if you know what languages are, you're probably currently wondering why the game is in Japanese. It's faster. By 1 second, I think. I think it's exactly 1. Otherwise, the language selection doesn't make a difference, and the text selection definitely doesn't. It's just voice language. The only reason I'm playing the game with Japanese text is because I'm a tremendous weeb. There is no other reason for that. So, sorry if you wanted to understand what they were saying and don't happen to have already played this game or understand Japanese. Because I didn't change it. I probably should have, I didn't really think about that. Oh well. But yeah, we can't progress past Mia. There's like an invisible wall that moves with Nia during this scene. We can't get a move. While she's ranting, I'm going to do inventory management. We chucked the email, which has no function other than occupying inventory space. And the game has cursor memory, so like where we are in the menu, the game will remember it through everything, through cutscenes, through loading transitions, through character changes, everything. So positioning your cursor correctly for fast menuing, there's a route to it. You have to remember that when you play through the game. It's not especially complicated, but if you forget it, it makes a difference in terms of time. Especially at the top level, where, like, I think I'm, like, 6th place on this game's leaderboard overall, which is not bad innings for a game with, like, 200 runs. But, the difference between 6th place, me, and the world record is, like, 30 seconds or something, because that's how much time there is at this game in the top level. So, minor things, like where your cursor is on the menu, you know, it adds up. It adds up. Oh, this game has a block feature, by the way. This is what this groovy hand jiving is doing at the moment. That will come into play, because the block is actually really, really good. It's underrated. But otherwise, this is kind of auto-scroller-ish, where Mia will, like, look into the room. You have to hit a trigger in order to make the scene progress. How the trigger works seems to be a combination of time and position. It seems to be whether or not she's looking at, you know, like, whether a time has elapsed and whether or not you're not looking at it. So I found that, like, if you stand in this spot and kind of just spaz the mouse a bit, this tends to do just fine. Yep, there you go. All well and good so far. You have to hit another trigger. The opening section of this game is largely just vague, obscure trigger hunting, and it's kind of annoying. But it's fine. We need to trigger a banging noise, and in order to get this banging noise, we will stand in this door frame and immediately walk out. There it is. And I'll walk back down the stairs. That's the fastest way to trigger the next section of the game. And this bit is basically cutscene. This is one of Resident Evil 7's great tricks as a piece of horror fiction. This section as a first-time player is probably very intense because there's a crazy woman brandishing a knife in her face, in your face. The absolute fastest way to progress through this section in a speedrun is to do absolutely nothing. I press no buttons. Pressing a button will actually slow the scene down because it tells you to hold the mouse button to resist. Don't. It's slower. This doesn't actually do real damage to you either. And when you kick her down here, the fastest thing to do is to run into her. Because this animation will move you to the correct place anyway. So you just run into her to start this sooner. And this, it also tells you to hold the mouse button to resist. You can. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter. You can't die here. And I will inevitably... words. I will inevitably mistime this trick, quote-unquote, coming up, because I normally time it using my own timer. From when you gain control, the time where the next trigger becomes available to hit to progress the scene is at about 10 seconds. From whence I gain control. And since I don't have a timer on hand, I'm not running one at the moment because I can't be bothered. I'm just going to have to kind of, like, eyeball it. So you go in here, we heal. Not that it really matters, just do it to kill time. Kind of wait here. Now? Fine, that might even have been good. I may have been out by a second or two, but... This is technically a boss fight. Oh, she fell the wrong way, that's not good. Didn't get stabbed by her. That's a fine position for her to land in. Decent. So you kind of just do the strong attack on her repeatedly, and if good, you get a kill without her stabbing you in the shoulder blade. And there's another timing-based thing here, because I think it's like, what, 13 seconds from when the phone rings, but I don't really have a good timer for it. Yeah, it was a bit sloppy. If I had a timer running, I'd be able to time those a lot better, but nah. But this phone call is required. You can't progress the game without getting it. Not every phone call is required. Some of them are, some of them aren't. And knowing which ones are is basically just a matter of having played the game a lot. Give me that axe. As you pass through this door... When is it? There we go. You can do another restart here to regain your speed once you've triggered the checkpoint. That one's probably not worth doing RTA, but I'm kind of just running on autopilot. barge past these chairs since they don't actually have physical presence. There's Mia. And now she's not here. And cutscene. Just like the other scene where she's brandishing a knife in your face, there's nothing you can do to speed this up. What is the difficulty? Easy mode. It's any percent. Madhouse mode is totally different and not actually that much slower, but it's distinctly not marathon safe because it doesn't autosave at all. There's a point in Madhouse where dying will kick you back a full 30 minutes of gameplay, like no exaggeration. That is how much the difference in checkpoints is. You autosave before bosses in Madhouse and basically nowhere else. This means you either need to make manual saves, which might not be too bad, but you need to prepare that beforehand. Or just don't die. Which is hard, because in Madhouse things two-shot you. Unsubtitled dialogue. Give me the axe. So despite being down a hand, we can still, like, wield an axe just fine. And having your hand cut off there actually doesn't do any damage to you, and we reposition the cursor here to slot 1 for future menuing. It's important. It's very important, it's necessary. So this is the first, like, proper boss, Chainsaw Mia, and we should end it very quickly. There's, like, a weird glitch thing you can do where you get, like, stuck inside of her hitbox by crouching into her when she comes in here, and that should hopefully score many hits at once. I'm sort of fuzzy on the specifics of it, and I've never been really great at this trick, but it's really not that big of a deal if I don't get, like, a perfect hit. Oh, she did the teleport behind me. That's my favourite meme. That was just about the worst possible outcome you could get of that, and I didn't even get hit anyway, but she did that stupid crap where she teleports behind you when you hit her. I don't know why it does that. It's dumb and bad. And now I will demonstrate my pathological hatred of crates. In order to progress the scene, you must break every crate and open every door at least twice. I'm totally making this up, it's just on a timer. I also think being near walls slows it down. Oh, there we go. And transition. And that's the intro. Now we actually get to play the game. Oh, well, eventually. The intro is always the same, regardless of whether you're playing New Game Plus or New Game, because you don't have access to New Game Plus items at that point. So that whole section plays out pretty much the same. But soon we will get access to items, and then the routes will actually start diverging. Even though New Game Plus's routing is, due to the nature of New Game Plus, is pretty much just get the items and then use them. Don't really need ammo routing in New Game Plus. So, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Resident Evil 7 as a speedrun does contain too many cutscenes, and this is one of those too many cutscenes. It's a good cutscene, but what I wouldn't give for a skip button. Japanese also probably isn't faster for cutscenes like this because I don't think the speed of the cutscene is tied to the voice dialogue. I think it's tied to the speed of the animations. It's faster for a couple of select, mostly audio-only cutscenes, like possibly some phone calls and possibly one of the voice dialogues in the latter half of the game. Cutscenes like this seem to play out at the same speed regardless of language. There's also a certain surreality to hillbillies in the American South speaking perfect Japanese. Perfect accented Japanese at that. Radio. As soon as he leaves, we can actually, like, begin gameplay. Once more. There we go. I have to press a button to trigger that. It's technically gameplay. Okay, so now we're going to do a minor movement manipulation that can actually kind of balls you up if you get it wrong. So it requires you to run down this hallway, crouch at a specific timing, and then run. Block this hit, because blocking in this game is amazing. That does, like, basically no damage because we blocked it. And Jack's, like, weird freaking out there can actually clock you around the skull and take health off, which you'd prefer, like, not to do. Health management is not an amazingly large problem in this game, but it does, like, it is a thing. Try not to get hit if you can help it. He's still in the hallways, like, nowhere near us. There is a thing that can happen. It happens incredibly rarely, where Jack will, like, teleport through the wall and do the special animation where he, like, cuts your leg off, and it loses an absurd amount of time, and getting that basically instantly murders the run. You can keep going in marathons, it's of no consequence, but it's only supposed to happen if he's, like, right next to you when you try to enter the hatch. But sometimes it just happens anyway, because you have to just barely touch the door there, which triggers this phone call. You need this phone call in order to trigger a cop appearing at the window, and in order to trigger the cop at the window, you need to also have touched the door at the main hall that you can't open, which is why we did it when we went up there to get the key in the first place. If you do that then, you don't have to do it now, which saves time. And now we're going to get all the New Game Plus items out of the box, hopefully in a fast menu. No, I took one more item too many. Okay, so now we have the great gun. It's just the Albert, it's a great gun. Touch this wall. Spawns that cop immediately, you can see him spawn in. Circular Saw, also a beast weapon. Circular Saw is really, really broken good. It's a melee weapon that's basically like a short-range, horrible murder field that will just decimate everything it touches. And we also took infinite ammo, which means we don't have to worry about ammo for the rest of the run either. And also gives us infinite enhanced handgun ammo, which is normally a rare type of ammo you only get by crafting. So with infinite of those, you can kind of one-shot everything, provided you hit. Which is, the thing with the Albert, is that it's got a pretty narrow, like, what's the word I want here? It's hard to hit with it, you need to be fairly precise. And it also has a certain degree of spread that occurs when you're walking. And because this is a speedrun, you don't really tend to stand still when you're shooting. Which means you can sometimes miss shots. And if you're wondering what that barely visible tiny white thing there, I picked up a New Game Plus item called the X-ray glasses, which lets you see items in the game world. Marked with like a thing. I'm going to throw those glasses away because I don't want them and I didn't mean to pick them up. I mashed too hard. We do need to get this knife in order to progress the game, despite the fact we have a saw. The knife is used for this, and will never be used ever again. But we're still going to keep it for the entire run, but we're just never going to use it. I also have the wrong item equipped. There we go. So this is Jack 1. The strategy for this is to do as much damage to him straight away so that he immediately gets into his car, and then he'll crash it because we can just kill him really fast with the circular saw. But there's also a thing that can happen here. Whether or not he'll get into the car fast is borderline random. It's like, that's enough damage, that's done already. So we're just gonna stand here, shoot him once. He didn't fall forward because that's because I'm doing the strat wrong. You do it then, not before he does the thing. I'm gonna rearrange my inventory and get the cursor while he gets in. And then he dies. I probably lost time there by shooting him too early because that's like not the strat and I don't really know why I did that. Rust, I suppose. We'll go with that. That's the car key. We don't want that. So he gets out, and we have to keep him at bay because if he grabs us, it's slower. That's the worst animation because he becomes like vulnerable for a really long time. And I have 2 in a row. Love it. Those car parts. Then when it explodes, it's fine. We just need to be like near this left wall. Because that's where you need to be to progress the game, but you can't like progress immediately. You have to trigger an event, so being like right next to it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. We don't want to see it. I'm not interested in seeing it. I want to get up this ladder. So we have to loosen that picture before we can take the item, but we can loosen the picture and then pull the shelf back while it's loosening, so we can then we save a bit of time that way by doing 2 actions at the same time. Another minor optimization. Now we have everything we need. We have powerful gun, powerful melee weapon, and the handgun. Even the handgun with enhanced handgun ammo, even though it's weaker than this gun, does come in handy in this run. We have picked up that item, it just processes on a delay or something, so when you pick it up it doesn't immediately pop up on the screen, so you can get like a certain distance away. That phone call isn't necessary to progress the game, so I don't care. Bye bye. So now we're trying to collect 3 dog heads to get out of the house. That's the goal at this point. One's right there. We're 1/3 of the way done. Remarkable. So this restart I'm going to do here isn't actually faster, either RTA or IGT, but it resets enemy aggro levels, because like it assumes you died. This game does have some degree of dynamic difficulty to it, which means if you die it will like scale enemies back a little bit. So if you reset enemy aggressiveness, it makes this strat a lot easier. Because otherwise he stands a good chance of grabbing you while you try and exit the room. So then, because we do that, we can just like barge straight past him. You thought the cop death was censored in the Japanese version. That's because this isn't the Japanese version. You see Japanese text, and you see Japanese visuals, but you are not seeing the Japanese version. Okay, that's fine. I baited him with my gunshots there to make him appear behind me, and if I've done it correctly, he shouldn't bust through the wall here. Got it. Lovely. I'm a really good shot. That's depressing. But yeah, I don't actually own the Japanese version of this game. It is faster, by like a lot actually, like 20-something seconds or some crap like that. Shadow puzzles are easy because they are fixed. But acquiring the Japanese version on PC while not actually being Japanese is borderline impossible. If anyone knows how to do it, please hit me up. I'm genuinely interested. Mostly because I'd get record out of it. Haha. Another restart here to jump us forward. Physically, in space. This checkpoint reload puts you at a forward state. See? Teleportation. Definitely not worth it RTA, I'm just doing them like automatically, I suppose. Whatever, it's like seconds. It's not important. Yeah, I wish there was a way to get a hold of the Japanese version on PC, but you can set worldwide versions of the game to Japanese text and Japanese voices, but they will not actually be the Japanese version. Headshot. You have to hit that headshot, or he'll, like, start chewing on you. I cannot believe I actually missed the... Man, that was slow. I missed the, opening the hatch. I just walked straight past it. Haha. Well done, hustle. We can ignore this guy, he is of no concern. Nice! I love the aiming in this game, dude. It's great. Yeah, so that's the thing with the New Game Plus weapon, is that you can sometimes point at an enemy, click on the head, and somehow hit the wall behind him. It's a good meme. It's my favourite. Okay, so Jack 2. This boss is kind of a ball ache. The first thing, I have an audio cue for like when to shoot this first bullet, but it doesn't, it's not great. I will probably still get grabbed a little bit, because it's just, I don't know. It's kind of oh, I got it. That timing is ridiculously precise, and then we drill his weak spot, and with any luck, he doesn't do this stupid crap and waste like 3 seconds for no reason. Thanks, game. So that just rendered my great timing on that shot basically worthless, because this game sucks. Perfect timing. Ah, and he tried to lurch away from me as well. That was the dumbest RNG ever, and I still did fine. Get out of my house. So, sometimes when you're, like, drilling his weak spot to try and kill him, he can, like, fall away from you, and if you're very unlucky, that can totally screw up your one cycle. However, that's happened to me enough, because I'm, like, the world's unluckiest player of this bloody game, that I'm like, nah, I track that. We track those. I executed well, and probably lost time anyway, because of bad luck. Heh. Lost time to what, though? I don't know. I have no splits up. That's more or less what a good Jack fight should look like, minus the dumb stumbling and his pathfinding taking a hissy fit. So, like, Jack's pathfinding to the wall to rip open the chainsaw is kind of random. No other way around it. Sometimes he will just immediately 180 on the spot and start ripping the wall open, and it's like, cool, fast. And sometimes he'll, like, take a trip around the room, and it's like, okay, then I guess this is happening. It's never more than, like, 3 or 4 seconds, so it's not a massive deal, but at the top level of the game, where it's fighting over, like, individual seconds, it can be very obnoxious. Menuing while that door opens, because might as well. Other amazing speed strat is that I have 2 keys bound to the use button. I have one on F and one on a mouse button. This phone call is necessary, but it's only triggered by leaving the trailer, so we get far enough into the trailer, and then leave again, and then immediately go back in again. It's surprisingly easy to get the distance wrong and leave without triggering the phone call. These conversations may very well be shorter by a bit on the Japanese version. I don't think this is one of them. But because these are all audio, this could potentially be a factor which makes Japanese voices a bit faster. But there is definitely one conversation where it's provably faster, because there's literally an on-screen display of how long the conversation is taking, and Japanese ends quicker by that timer. To the old house. For this strat coming up, we want to like shoot a beehive that's in the way. And I usually do this wrong because it's got like a weird interaction with crouching. So you shoot it once, pop 2 shots in it, switch back to this. Yep. Oh, nice meme. Wow, bro. The aiming in this game is good. I missed both my shots on the beehive because my aiming got jerked around by being hit, which means my shots fired like wildly off center. Why am I repeatedly crouching? I activated that while crouching, which I didn't even know you could do that. Spiders on the door. We don't care. Get out of the way. You can also slowly knife them off the door, which isn't worth it. Or you can like burn them off the door, I guess that's an option available to you. But the circular saw, just cut them all off the door, by far the fastest, because you can just kind of like run it up and down the door and get it all in 1 second. No big deal. So here's some significance to this scene that's probably lost on like non-Japanese audiences. This isn't just, like, supposed to be scary because, woo, bugs and centipedes and stuff, even though I am, like, terrified of bugs, so this scene actually, like, really got to me the first time I played it through. Those are a specific kind of Japanese centipede that are, like, super poisonous. Like, the kind where your flesh, like, rots and stuff if they bite you. It's gross. I love this game's aiming. Oh, this game's aiming is shit! I'm gonna get hit, this epic meme, dude. There's so I aimed at this bug, and the game just decided that no, it doesn't count. So that guy is gonna, like, follow me around and cheap shot me constantly while this goes on because I can't really hit him. There we go. This game's aiming's bad. Sometimes you can just aim at things and it won't count for no particular reason. Let's hope Margaret doesn't notice me. This is like a specific movement thing done so that Margaret doesn't notice you. Got it. Goody. If she notices you, she can make your life really difficult trying to get this valve handle turned, because bugs will fly around and then stab you in the face. Nice meme, dude. My RNG sucks. So that was also bad luck. That bug can also sometimes just hit you in the head for no particular reason. So far my execution's been fairly decent, just my RNG has been like complete bull. Complete bull. I'm sad. There's a lot of minor things that are random that can go wrong, and so far all of them have gone wrong. It's lovely. It's a boss fight! The strategy to this boss fight is to shoot it 3 times, and then it falls over and dies. But you have to do it quickly, otherwise you'll like miss the 1 cycle. Which I'll probably do. Some of those things where if you don't miss a trick in so long, you're guaranteed to miss it during a marathon. Oh. That second shot didn't count, apparently? I have in fact missed it, because this game sucks. Okay, that's just the game being wrong, because that second shot definitely hit. You have to shoot the Albert once, and then shoot the handgun twice. I was looking at that, saw both of the shots hit, and tried to climb the ladder, and I guess the game just decided to be wrong, and just said it didn't count, even though you visibly saw it hit. I disagree with that. This game sucks. That is wholesale bullshit, and I don't accept it. As long as you see the indicator on the lantern, that counts as the trigger for the next scene. That's why I walked forward there. And phone call. If it ever seems like I'm doing random actions in a weird order, it's purely for trigger hunting to get the next scene to play as fast as I possibly can. Never fails. I have seen some weird videos from people of like the trigger strat where you walk forward, see the lantern as a usable item, and then walk backwards. I've seen it fail on some people. It's never ever failed for me, and I don't really know why. And I've done like plenty of runs of this game. If it was gonna fail, it would. Especially considering how pretty downright terrible my luck is in other places. Right, so it's another boss. We have Marge 2, because every boss in this game comes in pairs. This one's more complicated than the last one, and I'm gonna try the newly found, like, quick strat for her that saves, like, 10 seconds or something, I don't know. So trigger her. Immediately turn around and start popping caps in her face. While doing the quickfire strat. And you look up here in order to prevent her from spawning there. She spawns here, and then, if you're lucky, you might get a quick kill. Which we did! Oh! So that quick kill on the final bit there where you're like soaring her and then she falls over and dies. Sometimes she doesn't fall over and die and jumps on the ceiling and becomes invincible. It's pretty obvious pretty quickly how the game's gonna go. But it just seems to be... I don't want to say random, but it's probably random because there's really there's no explanation for it otherwise. But it went well that time. I got the good RNG where it mattered, which that's like getting that quick cycle there saves an incredibly large amount of time. At least relative to this game, that's like 9-10 seconds or something, which is a big deal. Not having her jump on the ceiling saves bare time. Bare time, man. So yeah, that was good. That was a good March fight. I'm pleased with that. That's pretty much the model of that. So I moved the menu there one slot further over than you'd think, because we're going to gain an item here that's completely useless, or at least not usable. The arm, and then in the next slot, the key will go there. So I position the menu there now, so that the menu is correct about 10 minutes from now. Because that's the level of pre-planning in action here. I'm still crouching. No! Does it really not... Does it... okay. So the restart here is being done in order to try and manipulate enemy cycles, but I didn't uncrouch, which... It wouldn't trigger the checkpoint because I was uncrouched, I think? See, because now I can just shoot this guy in the head and he dies. If you don't do that, he sometimes doesn't load in properly and can, like, spawn in front of you and body block you really hard, and also sometimes eat you. Which is not ideal. But that was probably not worth doing because that restart took so long to do. Because I didn't uncrouch successfully. You ever tried to save a second and lost like 5 instead? I have, it's great. That phone call isn't necessary, so we don't take it. Haha. You make good time instead. It's also faster to leave the house out by the front door instead of going through the hole again by 3 seconds. Precisely 3. And it's even faster now with a new strat. Previously, it was thought that you need, in order to trigger this phone call, you don't need to take the phone call, but you need to start it. You needed to enter the trailer in order to start the phone call and then just leave again. You don't. You can, in fact, just tap the corner of the trailer and then leave. There it is. There's the phone call. And we're already halfway to the house. Saves plenty of time. So this is Resident Evil 7 for you, a game of loads of tiny optimizations and lots of trigger hunting and menuing and stuff. It's actually quite a dense speed game in terms of like how much stuff there is, but I don't think it's a very, I don't want to say it's not a hard speed game because I feel like that's disrespectful. At the top end, you have to put the work in order to gradually shave off tiny amounts of time. But it's an approachable speed game, I think, is what I'd say. I'd recommend this as a first speed game to people. I think it's a good entry point, in spite of the, like, pretty high amount of cutscenes. This is a stratagem. If you shoot it as it's flying in and then saw it, it dies faster. Timing the shot correctly is a bit difficult, but not like that much. So this is a regional difference. I'm playing the global version, which is slower than the Japanese version. The Japanese version, instead of having this cutscene where you stick your wrist down a dude's throat in order to pick up a key, the key is just sort of on the table, and you can just walk in and leave. Pick up the key and just get out, which is faster by like a lot. Which I wish I had the Japanese version, but I don't. It's hard to get if you're not Japanese. Didn't get it. So that door has a really strange peculiarity to it. If you are a certain distance away from the door and mash really hard, the door can open faster. Like open all the way instead of get out of the way. Japanese version faster because it skips cutscene. There's also a couple of animations like Jack 2 dying, he explodes and bisects. The censorship in the Japanese version relates directly to the removal of body parts. It's taboo in Japanese culture, you see, to a certain extent. I don't know why I menued there, that's the wrong menu. So anything that shows like limbs being removed was like censored to some extent. So when Jack 2 dies and he blows up and his legs walk around for a bit, his legs walking around for a bit isn't there, he just sort of flops to the floor and dies. And because of that, it's a shorter animation, so you save time. But how do I shadow puzzle? There we go. It's surprisingly hard to get that right. Hello game? Thank you. So that's why, I didn't mention this earlier, but while Marge 2 was dying, during her, like, dying animation or whatever, I threw away... I still got the 2 drop, that's pathetic. I threw away the running shoes, which, the running shoes, or the walking shoes actually, get the name right, crucially, increase speed while you are crouched, and at no other point, so they're not amazingly useful, but they do save time, a little bit of it. But at this point, there's not a lot of crouching that needs to be done, and the running shoes occupy space, which we don't have. Like, we have a full inventory at this point, it's full of key items, and the running shoes is the one item we can reliably ditch and get away with it. Everything else is, like, absolutely 100% necessary. Well, actually, the knife isn't, but you can't throw away the knife. The game doesn't let you. And there's no convenient time to get rid of it, so, we don't. Nice invincible frames, dude. You need to kill that enemy, otherwise it can turn around and, like, jack you in the face pretty bad. And this one. But the problem with that is that the hitboxes are kind of terrible, and sometimes you can, like, clearly hit them, like, visibly. You see blood come out of them, and just damage doesn't register. Actually, I don't think it's a hitbox thing, I think it's just random invincible animation thing. Some animations just have iframes, sometimes. For no good reason. It's lovely. And this is like a really long cutscene. Like a really long one. I also, like, despise this cutscene because it involves an ugly dude breathing in the microphone a lot. So how are you guys doing? There is a skip for this that's only ever been observed on console versions of the game, where the TV just explodes immediately and ends the cutscene straight away, and everyone who's ever stumbled onto it has been utterly baffled. If you could figure out how to do it consistently, you'd just win. Like, it's like minutes. But it's only ever been observed on console versions of the game and never replicated consistently. We believe it to be the result of hard drive failure. Or some type of, like, corrupted data problem that, like, prevents the video from playing. So the game is just like, oh, the video's over, so it explodes. We think. I'm not satisfied with that explanation, personally. But it's been a lack of investigation into it. I'm drinking water. I do really like Lucas's voice actor in Japanese, though. He's very good. It's something else. What was it? Oh, yeah, speaking of things that haven't been investigated quite as thoroughly as I'd like. You may have noticed that the speedrun is played relatively straight, like there aren't really many major glitches in it, and you're thinking, oh, is this Resident Evil 7 just that solidly programmed of a game? No, absolutely not. Of course not, it's a Capcom game. Why do you ask such silly questions, viewer? Ridiculous. Many out of bounds in this game have been found, like many. You can get out of bounds in quite a lot of places. I don't really know how to do any of them, though, because none of them are useful in the speedrun, because the game sequence is, like, locked down, so, There's the... nice hitboxes. This is a bomb. Blocked. So yeah, the block in this game is fabulous. The block is so powerful that it can literally block bombs with your face by just putting your hands out, like bombs and shrapnel and stuff, like dynamite. It doesn't matter. You can block it like this. We're gonna walk forward here and just block. Who cares? It's not even important. So that's the block for you. The block is amazing. It will flat like reduce all damage by like a lot. Doesn't matter what the damage is. Even things that do not make logical sense to be able to be blocked can be blocked. And it doesn't matter what password, even if you know the correct passcode, the game will actually change what the correct passcode is. So it's in your best interest to just like not bother. How do I menu? That was kind of slow because I forgot what it was I actually wanted to get rid of. This is a restart here. Normally you'd have to wait to push past the slowly opening door, but doing this restart here will just put you on the other side of it. It's faster. I probably need to start timing that better. I'm a bit too scared of it. You can also just block that bomb. Like, I normally block it, but I for some reason felt like crouching under it that time, so I crouched under it, but I kind of did it a bit far out. It's not important. So this strat coming up is like a mini-boss type thing, and it's also my like sole contribution to this game's route, because this one is actually still being used. This boss, it was previously thought that he couldn't be damaged while he was coming down on this lift here. He can. I don't know why people thought that, but you can just shoot him. Guarding there reloads faster, just as a heads up. You only need to put like 6 shots into him, and then when the thing lands, miss that shot because I'm bad. Really slow death. Didn't land that first shot correctly at all. Decent. Now you can ditch all our items. So, you can't read the text there, obviously, but it's saying that the New Game Plus items, when thrown away, are not thrown away. They go back to the item box. We can pick them up again later, for later use in the run. But we need a totally empty inventory at the moment. Because the game won't let you progress without an empty inventory at a certain part. You know, the explosion of bile, yeah, you can block it, but even, that being said, blocking it is just it's just to reduce the animation speed, because it doesn't actually do any damage. It just knocks you down if it hits you, which is slow, but it doesn't actually hurt you. Fun fact, you can input diagonals on this keypad if you press both the buttons at the exact same time. Like, dead exact same time, by the way. That's like, it's a frame-perfect trick or something, nah, it's not that harsh, but it is, the keypad does kind of suck, and it is really unforgiving with how close you have to hit those buttons together for it to count as a diagonal. Right, so we have to candle, and we have to put it on the cake, and I know the solution to this puzzle, but I'm not allowed to interact with anything in the room until Lucas stops talking, which is fabulous. So like, there's like this dude, we don't interact with him. There's like a telescope in the toilet. We're not going to get that either. I think I got back there in time without losing any time. I'm mashing buttons to use this candle as fast as I can, man. Move the menu into a more suitable position for the next item we're about to pick up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The position of the correct letter is always 5 from the center letter. And you may have noticed I was like taking breaks in my sentences there to count. Ooh, that was fast. That was like perfect positioning. That's what I'm talking about when I say when the game tries to reposition you for animations. If you're just standing in the correct spot already, it doesn't do anything. Oh, menuing. Right, so this is a cool strat coming up. Tick tock, tick tock. Boom! Doesn't do any damage. Not important. Okay, so we're now in a room with a ticking time bomb. And we're gonna rip this off the wall and put it in the wall in order to blow a path forward, right? So you think we want to, like, get out of the way? But we can do this! That does work! I'm not going to do that, but it does work. You can just stand in front of it and block the bomb. What's even faster is if you stand, like, 5 degrees to the right of the bomb. Like this. And it'll whiff completely, I hope. I think I'm standing in the right spot. I was. And when it whiffs completely, you can just walk through! That's probably one of my favourite tricks in this game, just because of how, like, absurdist it is. Stand right next to the bomb, but stand just slightly to the left, and it still misses you completely. It's like, it's not how bombs work, but you don't care. Because why would you care? Reasonable. Okay, so this enemy is about to come out of the water and he's a pain in the balls. Because you think, right, oh look, there's an enemy. I can just shoot him. No. No. Those didn't count. Actually, that second one might have. I didn't hear him. But normally, I don't bother shooting that guy because the first shot will never ever do any damage. It doesn't matter. It will never ever do damage. This guy might fail to spawn, he might not. He failed to spawn. There's supposed to be an enemy that drops down from the ceiling here sometimes, but unnaturally, I seem to have, like, a cursed copy or something. He never spawns for me. He spawns, like, 1 in 5. But it's not rare. Like, he's supposed to spawn, something I do buggers his spawn up, and I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's the way I move, maybe it's the way I talk, maybe it's just my good looks. But he doesn't appear. There's supposed to be an enemy there. It doesn't make a difference time-wise, because if he does spawn, you just shoot him in the head and keep moving. If he doesn't spawn, you don't shoot him in the head and you still keep moving. But it adds one more thing I don't have to screw up, so I'm not that bothered. Okay, boss time. This is Jack 3! He has many glowing eyes on his body. You have to pop all of the eyes because it is a video game boss. And in order to start, there's one particular eye that's a complete ball ache and is situated on, like, his lower body. And we're going to try and shoot it out as fast as we can. Hopefully from the upper platform. I'm kind of crap at this strat, so I might fail it. Who knows? Walk forward a bit. Nice miss. Okay, got it on the second shot, that's fine. Switch guns properly, game, please. Wait a bit, because he has, like, brief invincibility during his, like, spazzy animations. And then we just take the rest off by circle saw. He got away from me. Didn't do enough damage. But otherwise, this is the route around his eyes. We're not actually doing any... Despite what the flashy blood particles would have you believe, we're not actually doing any damage to him at the moment with this. Now we can do damage, and then he dies. Easy peasy. That is a fast Jack. He does, like, his thing. He has a bit of a fit. I choose to stand... I'm going to stand backwards, actually. But it flips you, so it doesn't matter. And then you shoot him in the face. And that's video games. Decent fight. Oh yeah, the door. Rude. Oh no, he is not the dead. And And he mashed buttons, and then now he's dead. Now he's very dead. So we had 2 serum in our inventory and used one of them on him. This is the plot of the video game. Now we only have 1 serum to use on 2 infected people. This is where the choice of ending diverges, and this is important to the speedrun because this is any percent, obviously, so we choose the fastest ending. The fastest ending is the good ending. The slower ending is the bad ending, so we're going to take the good ending. Because in the bad ending, there is 1 extra boss fight, and in the good ending, there isn't. And the good ending is to rescue Mia and not Zoe. That's how you get that. It's that's why there are no like bad ending percent speedruns or whatever. Aside from word percent being a terrible name for a category, it doesn't add much to the speedrun. It adds like a minute, and the fight is also like exactly like it is at the beginning of the game. Like the one where you fight Mia with the axe, it's like that. So you know, sod it. We'll just take good ending. Yeah, the bad ending gives you an extra boss fight, and everyone dies. So we doomed this person to die, therefore we're going to get the good ending. If we got the bad ending and saved her instead, she would have then died anyway 10 minutes later, and this person would have died as well, because the bad ending sucks. It's not really, it's presented like a moral choice, it's not. There is a correct answer, and this is the correct answer. It's also the fast answer. And this is a total auto-scroller cutscene thing. There's nothing that can be done to accelerate this any. Check out these textures. I have all my settings on very low. I too base my moral decisions around which choice is faster. It's more that the bad ending has a higher body count of like 1. But the good ending is like that person who died doesn't die, and the bad ending is that person who you made die dies anyway, but for a different reason. So it's still bad, like they're still dead. Doesn't matter what you do, they're not living. They don't survive the game. And now we enter the boat section of the game. Yay! The best way to end a video. I do not like the boat section of this game. It's probably the weakest section of the game. As far as speedrun stuff in this goes, it's mostly, well, it's the same as a normal game, and it's minor optimizations and menuing. But now we're playing as Mia, and not Ethan. Mia has her own health bar, but doesn't have Ethan's inventory, and also she won't be using the New Game Plus items for the most part. She will in a bit, but not for the most of it. That's us, we're Ethan. We're a blonde white dude. Okay, so for this bit here, you can kind of get a little bit further ahead if you squeeze through the right side of this door, like that. If you try and run straight ahead, you'll like bump into the tentacles, and like that won't happen. I also need to sort out my inventory at some point. The inventory needs to be on, like, row 2, slot 2, because that's where an important item is going to end up. And I'll have to do it during a cutscene, a short one, coming up, because I don't think it's on the right thing. I don't think I situated it correctly. Luckily, you have, like, multiple opportunities to get that menu in the correct place. But it's important that you do this, because it's fast. Isn't that the point of a speedrun? Whereas yes, it is walking. So here's how you trigger this next cutscene, is you walk towards this helmet on the floor and then whip around like a 180. There you go, another maze in the right place. Did it. What a legend. It was almost in the right place, but it wasn't. And now we leave. If Mia had some way to retain the running shoes through this section, this would be a lot faster. Or, well, it would be imperceptibly faster, but it would still be faster. You'd notice. You'd save, like, a couple seconds. This restarts faster, because it skips you landing on the floor and, like, going through the long animation of, whoa, I hit the floor at a speed. Better keel over and, like, take a breath and a Greg's sausage roll before I proceed. Because every animation in this game is laboured. I was paid at least £100 in order to plug Greg's for that one. I hope everyone appreciates it. See, my subliminal advertising is working. Dact already wants a sausage roll. Buy one at your local Greg's. I'm laughing. Right, video games, it's just ladders in it. Yeah, the boat kind of takes a while before it really gets going. This game kind of does like the little girl horror thing as well towards the end. It's like it becomes fear for the final act, and it's like, nah. Especially if you're playing in Japanese as well, it becomes an anime little girl. That's the thing you don't want to happen. That one fuse can be like re-put back into where you found it, and if that happens because you mashed too hard, it will completely bugger up the menu, and it's really obnoxious, and I don't know why they made it like that, because there isn't really a good reason to put the fuse back where you pick it up, it's just there to be annoying. So what you should do is you should use the cancel button instead, but I forgot what my cancel button was bound to. I think it's the mouse button, but I don't remember. Really? I was like too far away to use the video player. So this section on Madhouse is the part where you don't get a save point from here to like the end of the videotape, which means if you die, you have to sit through this cutscene and the entire section of gameplay all over again. Which is not fun, because it's like kinda not an easy section. And is why I will probably never run that category, because screw that. It's also really, this section in particular can bite me, because it checkpoints at the beginning, it checkpoints here, and doesn't really checkpoint conveniently ever again, which makes it really hard to practice. See, now we don't have our New Game Plus items, right? So we have, like, limited ammo. See, it goes down and stuff. But we'll get it back shortly, just as currently we don't have a convenient point with which to do so. So these conversations are the ones that are probably shorter in Japanese. Which is good, because they are dumb and totally interrupt gameplay. Like, I can't even open this door. I really wish there was... I really wish you could, like... Stop, Alan. Thank you. Definitely worth it. Going around this way is probably faster. So I was lucky to not get hit there. Here's where the luck comes into play. Well, I say that. It's come into play a lot. Enemies, when they are first getting up from spawning, can sometimes immediately snap into an attacking animation and own you because you feel like it. And the elevator's coming there, so that's why we had time to go get our items from the box. We didn't lose any time by doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4. The key to that one is to wait for him to stand up properly and then shoot 4 or 5 bullets into him and stumble him out of the elevator. You don't want to kill him, because his death animation sometimes can take way too long. If you kill him in the elevator and he decides to writhe around instead of die properly, it can take a really long time. Get out of my way. And you don't want that, because it's slow. You also out of my way. We just phased through that guy. That's how smooth I am, like Ghost. I think I killed that one. Yeah, he's dead. Shot him through the floor. I didn't do the menu in the elevator. Ah, balls. There's my menu. I was supposed to reposition my menu while I was in the elevator so that I can quickly use this item on the door. But I didn't do that, so I don't know where I am in the menu at the moment. That's fine. This conversation specifically is the one we know is definitely shorter in Japanese, because in most languages this conversation lasts for 15 seconds according to the watch timer. In Japanese it should last for 14. 14. In English that lasts for 15. It might not even be a full second, it might be half. I didn't actually kill that one enemy, but it didn't matter, because he didn't hit me. That's all I care about. Bye-bye. So all you gotta do is touch the elevator. That's fine. We have touched it. Now we may shoot people in the head and have the game totally interrupt me with the stupid watch thing. Gonna reposition my inventory while that's going on, because we'll need that later when we regain control of Mia in the present instead of the past. It needs to be on exactly that slot. And the game's cursor memory is such that, yes, it will actually remember where the cursor was between those. Nice. This game's aiming is good. Weep. And cutscene! And thankfully that mostly ends this incredibly annoying section of the video game. At least the first half of it. The boat in general is not my favourite part of this game, as you can probably tell. Not from a running perspective either, because there's a lot of enemies, and shooting enemies in the head is kind of hard. They make it look a lot easier than it is. Because every enemy in this game is this black regenerator type things, and they have noodle limbs, they have noodle heads, and your spread kind of blows, which means it's pretty easy to not hit things. It's also very easy to hit things and have the game not count it, which is my favourite. Alan looks how I feel. It's like, yo, hot take right now, as soon as this runs over, I'm going to bed. I'm really tired. It's like 10 AM my time and I've been awake all night. I'm gonna sleep like a log, it's gonna be great. This guy's my favorite character in the game. Check him out. Boom. So this is the only cutscene in the game that can be skipped by normal means. And it's skipped. It's the only one that lets you do that, and I actually don't know if how fast you skip it has an effect on the timer. I don't think it does, but I skip it fast anyway because, you know, like speedruns. Still in a dream of the snake eater. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we're done with that. I can't sing and shouldn't try. My mousepad right now is the back end of a notebook. Just throwing that out there. You don't need pro gaming equipment in order to speedrun Resident Evil 7 like a pro. You can be like me and play on a default keyboard that came with the tower and a mousepad that's actually the backside of a notebook. Yeah, so here's some routing stuff right now. We want the corrosive in the slot that I currently have active that I used for the pipe, so we're going to get the corrosive first. And this is door skip. This is a self room, so if we open this door close to it and then grab the thing and immediately back out, we can get through the door before it shuts on itself. Because safe room doors will close automatically. Nice. So if we open the door while we're close to it and then immediately leave, we can get through before the door shuts on itself on a timer. This guy's kind of random. He's being a butt. I don't like him. Well, he didn't attack me, at least, I guess, so that's good, but he kind of body blocked me, which is not good. But not being attacked is better, so I'm okay with that. Now we have the corrosive in slot 1, and the fuse in slot 3, or sort it, whatever. This ledge here is the mini-boss, because it sometimes refuses to allow you to climb, as it is doing there. Thanks for that. Sometimes that ledge will body block you completely and prevent you from moving for like 2 full seconds, and sometimes it gets worse. Sometimes it'll prevent you from moving for a lot longer than that. There is no particular rhyme or reason to why it does the thing that it does there. So, like, this section here is pretty much the only section where it's possible to die in this run, provided you, like, have a modicum of sense. Because you don't get New Game Plus items, so you can't defend yourself against anything. You don't have time to go grab a gun. It's too slow. And sometimes you can be hit randomly, according to enemy patterns, so it is quite possible to die, or at the very least, if not die. This game has a thing called, I don't think it has a name actually, but I'm going to call it stagger, where if you're on, like, death hit, this game has a system where if you're about to die, the screen will pulsate orange around the corners. While that state is induced, you walk slower. You walk very slow when you are in stagger. it loses a ton of time and entering stagger without it like being during a cutscene or whatever. It's basically instant death blow to your run because the movement speed loss is so severe. Menuing. So it's kind of easy to accidentally wind up in that state during this if you get bad luck too many times in a row, which can still happen to me. It's not over yet. We got through it mostly unscathed, but there's a couple of things going on. Yeah, it is kind of like Danger in RE2, actually. Maybe I should just call it Danger instead. Go with the series convention. You can tell I don't run other RE games, huh? Because I'm not used to the nomenclature. Will this guy one-frame me? Yes. Thanks, dude. So that's bad luck, but we need this trigger bomb, so I had to risk it. Will this guy attack me? No, he's just going to get in the way instead. No, actually, he jumped out of the way. That's pretty good RNG. I rate that. This guy's going to appear, and I'm going to like totally ignore him and barge past him. This guy's also going to appear, and I'm going to barge past him as well. Those are not guaranteed dodges, I just go for them. There you go. This gets you into the cutscene faster if you restart from this point. It saves like 2 or 3 seconds. As opposed to waiting for the fade out to occur, you can just do this and jump straight into the cutscene. And now, a long cutscene, but we are luckily done with the boat. We can now play as Ethan again, at least once this is over with. So for those of you who can't understand the master language, it's them explaining to the player at this point how they're not actually all murderous psychopaths. It's because they were all like kind of brainwashed by the little girl thing when they found her. That's like basically the total summation of everything being said here at the moment. Also, learn to understand the master language, it's superior. These cutscenes do give you time to appreciate that Resident Evil 7 has really good voice acting regardless of the language. The English dub is quite good. The Japanese dub is also quite good. I'm told the other languages are pretty good as well, actually, but I wouldn't know because I'm not really I don't really understand any of the other languages. Do they have JP voices on PC? Yeah, this is PC. Was that not clear? Not that I'm insulting you or anything, but this is PC. This is being played on PC. I'm playing it on PC. Man, if this was console, this would be impossible. I've tried to play this game on a pad, it sucks. I don't know how anyone does it. Like, there's actually a console PC separation on a... Oh, if you just got here, that's fair. But I feel like sometimes I'm not being clear. I was wondering if that was like my fault for communicating badly. But no, this game actually has a leaderboard split for console versus PC, not because the versions really are any fundamentally different, but because controller just sucks so much for this game, because you turn really slowly. the fast crouch. If you crouch when you run into things, you can sort of like clip into them a bit, which enables you to go just a tiny bit faster via sheer movement. But yeah, this PC. A lot of the strats that are possible on PC are like really obnoxiously difficult to do on console because of how hard it is to like snap aim quickly. And also, you turn around just like slower on console because a mouse is like just better for that sort of thing. So PC times are intrinsically quite a lot faster than console, pretty much just because there's not really any two ways around that. I'm told there are like peripherals that let you use a mouse and keyboard on console though, which means if someone ever rigs that up to like a PS4 or something, Resident Evil 7 console leaderboard's free and also pointless at that point. But you know, I gunked up my menu doing that. Oh well. Perfect aim! Pop 'em. I'm good. So yeah, we need that trigger bomb. We picked it up as Mia way back in the boat. We need that to perform our one cycle strategy later in order to kill a boss faster. We're going to blind fire into the tunnel here in order to try and hopefully hit a bomb. I saw 2 explosions. I think I got it. No real way to be sure. Yeah, it looks like I got it. There's this guy here. You have to delay that shot quite a lot, like way more than you think in order for it to actually count. If you do it too early, you'll hit iframes. My timing there was precise, so I got it. JP voices on PC. JP voices are in every version of this game. Every version. If you have American console, you can still play with Japanese voices just in the options menu. Every single version of this game has voices. All of them. It's just a thing. In fact, I think it also has Japanese text. I'm pretty sure that you can also just set that in the options. Fire this grenade into the hole, just to get rid of those enemies. Pop that bomb. Yada yada yada. Time for a cool strat. We have inventory space again, right? Which means we can fit the running shoes into our usual repertoire. But how do we have time to get the thing? We do it now because we have like maybe a few seconds in order to grab the running shoes from the thing and go back before this opens. Got there in time. Haha. You imagine it's because we want to play in the original language. That would be funny, but this game was actually written in English. It's written by an American, and thus was written in English first and then translated into Japanese later. So it's not the original language. It's made by Japanese people, but it wasn't written in Japanese, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So now that we have the walking shoes in our inventory, because I risked time to grab them before the neurotoxin, this section, this is the only use for this. This becomes slightly faster. This one bit where you have to crouch through here. Just a little bit faster, because of this. This restart here is important, because it brings our speed back up to a normal level. And that's important because the spawns occur at a fixed rate regardless, which means you can often outpace the spawns. And I'm not used to doing it off-cycle. So like that guy will spawn late, so we can just run past him. That guy will like rocket forward when you shoot him for some reason. Every time. This guy, provided you don't miss like a jackass, you can just shoot him in the face. Same spiel with that. The grenade makes it easier to land that shot. Out of my way. This is a solid... If I can pop this shot. Nice! That was well good. Well good. And now we're going to perform a skip. Normally, you wouldn't be able to leave this section without killing these two enemies because they will, like, puke on you and make you fall off the ladder. But if you fire a neuro round between them, precisely as they spawn, you can just leave. Like so. Still in a oh. It's already over. Unfortunate. And that's the end section. That was really good. Well chuffed about that. That was basically ideal. If you ever want to run this game, do that, because that was fast as all balls. Cutscene. Rearrange my inventory. I need the bomb in my inventory, and I need the saw in my inventory, and that's like all I really need in my inventory. It's pretty much just the saw, actually. Ah! I got this. I did notice that firing the grenade there seems to have bugged up some of the lines. Like, the subtitles have stopped for some reason. And I didn't get, like, the line from Ethan questioning why he couldn't see things. Okay. I don't... That's interesting. Don't think it made any difference to the speed, but it was interesting. I'm just firing grenades at cutscenes in the hopes it does something vaguely interesting. Doesn't look like it. Cross that one off the list, I guess. Okay, so this coming up is like the Evelyn 1 cycle. Evelyn tries to push you away and prevent you from getting to her. We have the way in order to get to her, and we're going to do it by blowing ourselves up. So I'm going to place this here. We'll block this first hit, and then we're going to walk forward towards this bomb. Boom! Straight in. So yeah, that does a crap load of damage to yourself and can easily kill you if you do it wrong. Especially if you miss. Like, God, for the record, if you try that strat is good. That strat is definitely easier than trying to get the 1 cycle with just running forward, like pure luck. It's also definitely faster. So do it. I recommend that strat. It's good. However, if you do it, don't miss it. Because if you miss it, you will probably die. But yeah, we bomb boosted. This is like Legend of Zelda. It's a final boss. And how do we do the final boss except by walking forward and like sawing it in the face? So normally touching it in the mouth would kill you, as in exactly what I'm doing right now. But there's a grace period right at the start where it can't hurt you. So during that time you just run up and saw all its health off. And the remainder of this fight is basically QTE, so this is more or less a done deal. I mean, not quite. The game can still, in fact, softlock here at the very end. It's rare, but it does happen. So, like, nothing we do at this point actually affects the speed of how long this takes. You just gotta wait for... Like, you can block here as well, but it doesn't matter. You get smacked. I take revenge by soaring the air. And then we'll get stabbed in the leg. All according to Keikaku. And then in order to get free quickly, we're going to saw the arm off. That's the most efficient method. On New Game runs you can like shoot her in the face or something. But this is New Game Plus. And then we're going to grab the gun that we've been using for the entire run, but we don't technically have in the plot because it's a New Game Plus item, and then we're going to shoot her in the face, hopefully like 4 times, but more likely to be like 5 or 6. And if we're incredibly unlucky, the game can just softlock entirely at this point. That's going to be a 5 shot. I was actually counting. I think that was a 5 shot. It starts at 9 ammo, right? Either way, that's Resident Evil 7. We did it. We beat the video game. Time comes up on the fade to black. I don't really know if anyone's paying attention to that. Not that it really matters anyway, because loads are a thing and this game is timed IGT anyway. Time!
Let's pretend I didn't stop the time early, too early.
It hopefully makes up for starting it early at the beginning.
Oh yeah, good point.
Right, what's my IGT? Show me, show me, show me. 139.05. That's not bad, actually. That's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Lol.
Hold on, so in-game time is faster than real time?
It's loadless.
The timer I've got here says you got a 130, so that's confusing.
That is confusing. What did you do? Because it's loadless. Like the IGT takes loads out.
Let's just not question it.
How late did you start the timer?
Good...
Oh no! Wait, it's because of the 2 minutes. Like there's 2 minutes on the cutscene that like I started the run. I started the run after the intro cutscene.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I didn't want to bore everyone with it. Yeah, that's actually not a bad run.
That's pretty reasonable.
131 is quite good for a marathon. Woo! Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Who's on next?
So up next we have